Introducing a Gilmore Girls podcast. Welcome to Coffee and an IV, where we take a look back at our favorite TV show along with all of the beloved characters. It's time to revisit Stars Hollow. Hey guys! We are back. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
We are so excited to be back. It is officially post-launch, and we are on our second episode of Coffee and an IV, a Gilmore Girls podcast. And we are still covering the pilot episode. So it's still the same week. So season 1, episode 1. So today, first of all, if you're on YouTube, I want you to be able to see my shirt, and I'll read it to all of you on the podcast. It says, I like coffee and maybe like 3 people. I thought that was very Lorelai.
Yes.
She does like more than 3 people on most days.
Yes.
And
yes.
Same for me, but you know.
Mine just says, some people call me the space cowboy.
I love it. We love fun t-shirts. That's one of our favorite things. So we'll have to make sure we always show off our t-shirts on the podcast. Okay, so let's get the second episode started. We are going to be telling you guys some things that you may not have known about the pilot, or maybe you know, and it's just a refresher, and we can chat a little bit about it. So we have a couple of fun facts to let you guys know about. So the first one, okay, first of all, a television pilot is a standalone episode, and we were right. It's to sell the concept to a show or a network, okay? So that's why some of the things change from a pilot and then the rest of the series. It's different because the network is like, don't like that.
That doesn't work.
And they make suggestions. So that makes sense. So the first air date was actually on October 5th, 2000.
Ooh.
I was not even in kindergarten yet.
I was in college.
So I was 4? I was 4. 5. I was going to be 5. About to be 5.
Well, it was October.
Yep. So I was about to be 5 that year.
Yeah.
So I did not watch it, obviously, when it first came out. But I watched it not recently, but you know, over the past several years that it's been on Netflix.
25 million times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently also there was another pilot that never actually aired. There was a different guy that played Dean, and apparently the weird walk that Dean and Rory had that we discussed on Monday didn't happen, which I'm here for. But I think things would have changed. They would have changed it up a little bit.
I think that was that guy's first acting job or something.
Yeah.
And he was very awkward.
Yeah. So, you know, things were different. Yeah. But it actually never aired. This pilot was filmed in Unionville, Ontario, and this was only for the pilot, which I thought was interesting. The rest of it was filmed in Burbank, California.
Isn't everything filmed in Burbank?
Yeah, it's like right next to the Warner Brothers studio.
25 million sets there.
Yep. Yeah. So, but that was cool. So in Unionville, Ontario, there's a cool little town that looks like that. Exactly. So speaking of cool towns, Stars Hollow was actually inspired by and is loosely based on the actual villages of Kent, Connecticut, Washington Depot, Connecticut, West Hartford, Connecticut, and the town of New Milford, Connecticut. And the show's writer actually spent 3 weeks at the Mayflower Grace in Washington, Connecticut, and she explored all those areas while writing.
That's cool.
I think that's really cool to be able to be in an area that seemed just like Stars Hollow.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I definitely want to visit. And I've seen pictures of people visiting places like that. Yeah. And it looks just like Stars Hollow. And I am jealous. I definitely want to go.
Yeah.
So also, there is a Luke's Diner. It's actually Williams Hardware, and it's an actual real store. So it's, I guess, in the pilot. So it's probably in Unionville. And they decided to turn it into Luke's Diner for the episode. And they, later moved to a Warner Brothers studio. But it's actually a real place, Williams Hardware. And that continued on for the rest of the show, which inspired Luke to be, his father to be a hardware store owner. So it all connected. Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
So that makes sense why the hardware like stuff was all over the walls, because it was actually in a hardware store. So it answers all the questions. Okay, so we mentioned this one before, Drella.
The harpist.
She was supposed to be Suki, which again, on Monday's episode, we talked about it. We were like, I don't really see it.
Mm-mm.
But it's kind of a good thing that she didn't play Suki, because Lauren Graham loved working with Melissa McCarthy. And
it was hilarious.
Right? And I think if actors love working together, then you're going to obviously see it on screen. And you could totally see that.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole series, that they just had a really cool connection. Okay, so you're not going to believe this. I didn't tell you this before. Did you read it before?
No.
Alexis Bledel, who plays Rory, this was her first ever audition.
Shut up.
Can you imagine?
No way.
Scoring the role of Rory in your first ever audition. So she was 18 years old. She was a student at NYU, and she auditioned. When they started recording, she was 19, and there's a 14-year age difference between her and Lauren Graham.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's crazy to think she was already a college student when.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool though that she started as 16-year-old Rory, and then she got to later play Rory as a college student, which she experienced at NYU, which is a pretty big university. Yeah. Like, how it would remind me of how Yale would be, like a very busy, populated university. And I also think it's cool.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No. I also think it's cool that their 14-year age difference is very close to that 16-year age difference that they would have had.
True.
So it probably was easy for them to understand that,
Yeah, this next one I think is hilarious.
Oh my gosh. I know, right?
Yeah. So apparently
Alexis,
she didn't like coffee. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, so Jen hates coffee.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, am a very big coffee drinker.
So she drank Coke.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But also, so Lauren Graham liked coffee, but because she drank so much of it, scene to scene, she started asking for water, which I get, because back to back, think about recording multiple scenes in a day where she's having to like funnel down the coffee.
Well, there's sometimes those cups are empty. You can tell they're empty.
But she swears that they never were.
They look empty.
I think it's water.
Yeah, they look empty. I'm going to go back and say, okay, that cup's empty.
Right? But, so you'll have to spot it every time we...
Yep.
Go back empty and watch. Cups.
Yep.
But you can imagine, after a lot of cups, you'd feel pretty jittery.
Oh, yeah.
So being able to act, you probably need some water. So I thought that was pretty funny. Okay, so let's talk about the theme song, The Fabulous Carole King. The show's creator, Amy Sherman Palladino, literally said, I'm grateful to her forever for making this incredibly amazing theme song, which we all get stuck in our heads. Admit it, you do. Whether you say you don't, you do, for sure.
You do.
Yes. But she also makes a cameo in later scenes, which I think is kind of cool to be able to include her on that. Okay, so did you know Chilton is actually based on a real school?
Nope.
So it's a Connecticut prep school called, we're really bad at pronouncing things, Choate? Rosemary Hall?
I would say Chody.
Chody! Y'all can correct this.
Yeah.
But it's in Wallingford. Wow, that was a hard word.
It's a southern pronunciation?
Wallingford, Connecticut.
Wallingford. Not Ford. It's not Ford.
Did I just show my Pickens accent?
There you go. Yeah.
My South Carolina accent for sure. Okay. So this also answered another question, because I thought I was crazy. I was like, do they ever mention Lane Kim's father? And they do, but he's just never seen.
He's hiding all that stuff.
Just peeking around.
He's over there with the end tables. He's with the end table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of Lane, it is said that Kiko, the actor who plays Lane, and Alexis, who played Rory, were not super close off camera.
I would think you would probably be a little bit, because when you're off camera, normally you're in separate areas.
Right. And I guess with Lane, she was normally filmed in scenes with Rory. And Rory's in pretty much every scene except when she starts going to Yale and and the end scenes and stuff like that when she's at school. But you could imagine that Alexis was very busy and in a lot of other scenes, and Lane probably had a little bit more downtime.
Sure.
So they couldn't connect as much as like Lauren and Melissa could connect because they were in tons of scenes together,
Yep.
So I guess that makes sense, but it's kind of disappointing. I wish they were. Okay, so another cool thing, it's actually in the book I'm currently reading, Talking as Fast as I Can. Lauren Graham shares that she was actually cast in another show and it didn't work out. So that's how she got the chance to play Lorelai.
Ooh.
Aren't we so glad she didn't?
One.
I literally couldn't imagine another actor playing her. No. And when I just recently started the book, but you can tell by the way she writes, she has so much Lorelai in her, or I guess Lorelai has so much Lauren in her. That's confusing.
Who were you like before that?
Right, but the comedic nature is in both her real life and her actor life. And I think that's pretty cool. She's able to bring herself into the role. Okay, so BuzzFeed shares that Liza Wheel, who plays Paris, that was also very Southern, Wheel, whatever. I'm sure her name is pronounced another way, but it's fine. Actually read for Rory during her audition. And we can all imagine how that went.
She is not a Rory.
And the creator promised her that she would write in a role for her.
Which she did.
I guess she had a killer audition, and her personality probably came out, and it was like, okay, she could definitely be opposing to Rory sometimes, Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Okay, this one's wild. Before Luke, there was a Daisy.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a girl.
Is that not crazy?
Yeah, that would be bad.
I don't get that. But the network suggested that Luke.
Yeah.
Or that a male come in.
It was that her and Rory would hang out in this lady's restaurant.
Right. Maybe she was like a mother figure type. Not a mother, like a family type figure. I don't know.
Maybe Suki should have had the restaurant. And they would have hung out at the diner where Suki worked.
Oh, yeah, that would have been crazy. Yeah. But the network didn't like that. And I guess they wanted to have a male lead as well. So Luke came in. And it is said in some interviews that the creator, Amy, she says that some of the lines she just kept because she said she was lazy and just didn't want to change them. So that was pretty wild. And can you imagine it without Luke?
No.
No, definitely not a thing without Luke.
No.
Okay. And then the final thing is Lauren Graham loved her on TV parents' home, which who wouldn't?
For real.
It's incredible. Gated, absolutely beautiful. I love it too.
Pool.
Yep.
Although they never swim.
That is true.
Do they ever swim?
Do they have a pool?
Well, they have a pool house.
Oh yeah, I guess. Oh yeah.
Right?
Rory swims sometimes later on, right?
I don't remember.
To be determined. We'll find out later. Okay, so what was your favorite part of the pilot? You
answer first.
Oh, I answer first?
Yeah,
I wasn't prepared. I was gonna let you answer and say, oh, that was mine too.
Oh.
I guess. Oh, I don't know. I kind of like the scenes in the inn because you see how close everybody is and how they're just like family.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, right. Come on with your own answer.
No, like really. Like you get a whole glimpse of just how close they are, and
because the Friday night dinner stresses me out.
I love it.
I don't like the drama and the confrontation. It makes me extremely nervous. Yeah. I'm like wanting to hide under the dinner table with Rory.
True.
But yeah, it was a good pilot. And we're excited for the next episode, which will be Friday night. And we are going to be baking. We're going to have a delicious cake made.
Diabetic friendly.
It's not.
Oh.
Jen's a type 1 diabetic. It is not friendly, but it's okay. It'll be good. So we're excited to see you guys on Friday. Thanks for listening and tuning in.
Thanks for listening and tuning in.